high school, I was a troublemaker. Straight out, did everything I could to make trouble. The Iranian crisis was going on back then, and President Reagan had just got elected. The day he was sworn into office, I decided that I should be a part of that and go in and do my duty also. Turned me right around. Basic training turned me right around. I had a very tough drill instructor, and it was a woman. She made me stand up and be straight. I think it was probably the best thing I ever could have done for myself.
I joined the Navy because my father was in the Army. I don't like bugs, don't like dirt. My family never let me get dirty, you know. I was the first black female in San Diego in telecommunications program. Joining the Navy and my kids was the two best things I ever did in my life.
After the Army wasn't the first time that I was homeless. I was homeless before, and my family wasn't really all that supportive. It was really a hard time for me to get through high school. Something happened one day and I decided, you know what? The military, there's food, 3 square meals. I really don't have to worry too much about bills. There's shelter, there's clothing. I spent 12 months in Afghanistan on Bagram. The vehicle that I was in, the cargo Humvee, was riding over a riverbed and had really big rocks. And the truck went up in the air, it hit a big rock, and it went up in the air and it bent the rim of the Humvee, which is really heavy duty metal, and it came back down. And I hit my neck, the back part of my neck, on the gun turret, and the machine gun, it's like this, and I almost went over the side of the Humvee. I really didn't think much of it when it first happened. I mean, it hurt, but I didn't really think much of it. But once I got back to Bagram afterwards, the loud noise started bothering me, and I couldn't talk straight, and I was getting really bad headaches. When I was being medical discharged, my family basically wasn't all that accepting as I thought they would be when I came back. At first they were, all right, well, you could stay here, or, you know, but I was having some post-traumatic stress issues, and I guess that they couldn't deal with that.
I was after the Air Force. I decided that I wanted to be a minister. I wanted to spend my life helping others and doing that. I got my ordination and got my degrees. Friends of mine had told me about this little church down there that were looking for a minister, and it was a small congregation. And I said, you know what, that'd probably be the best place for me. And I went down there and tried to help as many people as I could. I decided to retire at 50. My health was not the greatest, and I wanted to be closer to my brothers and sisters. I knew when I moved home that the reputation of Connecticut's VAs was impeccable. Through Facebook, got a hold of a bunch of friends up here, and one of them, who was a grade school friend, offered me a room in her house. And I took it. I came up here, but that ended up being a disaster. And then I moved into my car. And was there 8 months until this all happened. Now, just can't believe I did sleep in this. I kind of kept it hidden. I was pretty embarrassed that, you know, I had an income and everything, but it just, getting a deposit down and all that first month, last month, it was just impossible for me to do. So I had money, I ate well, I went to restaurants and things like that, but I just couldn't find anywhere to move into. It was cold. You just did everything in the world to keep yourself warm. And, you know, my car's not huge, so it wasn't like I could spread out and lay down. Then finding a place to actually park and go to sleep was a major challenge. During the day, I was going out and seeing friends and things like that, and I never told them I didn't want to burden them. So they've each got their own lives going, and I saw it. I did not want them to know what was going on.
My family's from Savannah, Georgia. I'm the only Northerner in the family, you know, and 11 years ago my mother got sick because my parents went back to Georgia, retired. You know, even though they've been divorced since I was 21 years old, my parents were still very close. Okay, and so my father calls me and says, my mother's sick in a convalescent home, and come get her, you know, because I'm the only child. And for 10 years, I felt like I didn't have a life. I had problems, you know, like making sure my mother had the right environment to be in. You know, like I had a lot of problems with housing. I didn't want to put her in a senior citizen home because, you know, I wasn't eligible to move in there with her. I made sure my mother was comfortable for 10 years. I mean, I had got to the point that I had to change her just like a baby, but I did it all. She died in the house, and people used to say how much I looked just like my mother. And when my mother died, it's like I saw myself dead. After she died, I just couldn't do anything. I mean, I had lost all my discipline, structure. After 10 months, I finally got it together. I went to the homeless department and I turned myself in because I knew that if I did not follow through, I don't know where I would be. You know, I used to use drugs, this, that, and other, but I wasn't a drug addict that run around the streets and sell her soul, all that stuff, but I was one of them in the closet addicts. I used to think, oh, nobody knows, this, that, and other, but it was my way of escaping from reality. But still, I came here because I knew that this was my point in my life where I needed help all the way around. I was, you know, homeless. I didn't know where I was going to go. I needed to get me together.
It was humbling to go to the VA and say I need help. It was humbling when I got this apartment, knowing that there's so many other people that probably needed it more than I did at the time. But when this came available, it was a godsend. And things are just all up and positive. So it's a lot different than when I moved back up here.
Through the VA, I've been set up with various programs to help me in my transition, and it takes a while. It's not easy, especially when you're learning to be independent and you're dealing with medical conditions or mental health issues. We going outside? Yes, we are. He helps me get through the day.
Knowing you have a place to lay down at night and, you know, a place where you can relax is just the greatest thing in the world. I will never ever take for granted again the places I live, just because I know what it's like to not have it. I wish I could tell everybody in the world, everybody in the country, that these programs exist so everybody could get to feel what I get to feel now.
VASH was the avenue to help you get a house, apartment, something to call your own, where you have an address, you have somewhere to get your mail, you know where you're going to sleep at night, you have a key, you have your privacy. What more is there? I mean, as long as you have housing first. Once you get your house, then as far as structuring your life, as far as job, a school, your personality, your goals, that's the beginning. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.